Hey, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss Season 3 of Riverdale. This is CW's Riverdale. I realized we never talked about Season 1. We talked about Season 2. I don't watch Riverdale when it airs. I refuse. Because Riverdale is written... Now, Greg Berlanti is one of the greatest producers of our generation. He has given us incredible shows within the CW. He's given us Love, Simon. He's given us a bunch of other stuff. He's given us Riverdale. I have no qualms with Greg and his production staff, but Riverdale is produced as a binge-worthy show. So I can't watch one episode of Riverdale, wait a week. Watch one episode of Riverdale, wait a week. I don't know how I missed Season 3 on Netflix when it dropped, but Season 4 just dropped on Netflix, and it reminded me that I'm behind 2 seasons. So, Season 3, okay. So, the Black Hood was captured and revealed to be Hal Cooper, right? Betty's dad. So, the last thing we see of Hal is that, yeah, obviously he's gone to jail, but the last thing we see of Chick, who is pretending to be Charles, her, Betty and Polly's half-brother, who's actually technically then Jughead's half-brother, because FP and Alice had a love child who happens to be Charles. But we assumed Charles was dead. This was the plot of the second season, right? Charles was dead because Chick took Charles's identity, right? It was a thing. But Betty gave Chick to the Dark Hood, her father, to get rid of him, right? Because he was killing too many people. He went crazy. Okay. So the antagonist of season 3 is the Gargoyle King, right? So there's a game that's introduced called Griffins and Gargoyles. It's pretty much Dungeons and Dragons. But people are taking it in the literal sense. And instead of Jingle Jangle as pixie stick drugs, there's now, what do they call them? Something rocks? Pop rocks? Fizzle rocks? They call them fizzle rocks. It's really pop rocks, but they're called fizzle rocks, right? So Hiram is, Lodge is moving into that aspect of the drug world, trying to buy Riverdale. But also, Jughead's mom, Gladys, comes back from Toledo with Jellybean, the younger sister, to try to take over that drug trade as well. So there's a lot of that plot going on. But like I said, the antagonist is the Gargoyle King. So the Gargoyle King, we later find out in the very last episode, to be a few different people, mind you. A few different people take the mask of the Gargoyle King, the ruler of Eldervale, the land created within Griffins and Gargoyles. The game, we find out, it was created at Sisters of Whispering Sorrow. Is that the name of that place that Cheryl had to be broken out of for conversion therapy? We also learned that Penelope Blossom, Cheryl's mom, was adopted from there to the Blossoms, but specifically bought to be Clifford Blossom's sister / future wife. It's a weird, incestuous orphanage thing that went on. It was very strange. So the game Griffins and Gargoyles was formed at that sister's place, right? Who they had actually no affiliation with the church, and they used the game as a means of trauma therapy to like scare the kids into behaving, basically. So as episodes progress, we also learn that all of the teens that we're fans of, right? Veronica, Archie, Jughead, Betty, Reggie, Kevin, I think it was Josie, all of their parents were to Riverdale High together. We all knew that. So there was an episode called The Midnight Club, and it was about all their parents breaking into school at midnight, specifically to play Griffins and Gargoyles. So it was a take on Breakfast Club, but it was also a take on other iterations of cosplay, basically. And it was neat seeing them all in that form, and I think that was the highest rated episode of season 3, which is also pretty neat. And it was a great episode. It was a really great episode. I also liked the Heathers episode, the Heathers musical episode, and I don't know why nobody liked it, because I really enjoyed that episode. It was really good. Anyway, so on one of the nights of the Ascension night for the game, during the Midnight Club's gathering in the 80s, their principal turns out to be killed and shoved in a closet. And by doing the Ascension, you're drinking a glass of Fresh Aid, which is a blueberry flavored drink, which turns your mouth blue. mixed with cyanide so you can ascend into his holy kingdom, right? Cult stuff, cult shit going on. Okay. While all this is happening, Archie is in juvie because he was framed from Hiram Lodge, kind of a thing. But plea deal was that put into play. It was kind of a weird thing. But Archie is now in a fight club for the juvie center, which is interesting. So there's that plot going on. There's the farm plot going on with Alice Cooper and Polly and the twins, Juniper and Daiquiri. Because the farm is now infiltrating the high school as well, and they're buying the convent that the sisters had basically all killed themselves for ascension type of thing. Later do we find out that it was the main sister who had poisoned all of them to begin with. Let's see. A lot of death, a lot of suicide, a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, this is Riverdale. This is a 22 episode long season of 42, 43 minute long episodes. It's a lot of information to cram into one thing. So the first third of the show is hyping up with the Gargoyle King. The second third kind of drifted down. It was other side investigations of shit that was going down. Betty was talking to Hal in his prison cell for a long time, trying to get him moved to Hiram Lodge's new prison, which it was arranged, but then he escaped and he became the Black Hood again. And then the second third of the show was concluding on the Gargoyle story. But again, like I said, all of this is still going on, and you still have Gladys Jones trying to get into the Fizzle Rock game, things of that nature. There's a lot of betrayals, obviously. There's a lot of who said what and side quests, if you will. It's a lot of information that happens. So at the very end, we find out that Jason Blossom's body, Cheryl's twin, who was killed in the first season, which, you know, we've known that for a long time because Clifford Blossom was the villain at that point. His body was exhumed from his grave, and Cheryl decided to join the farm in order to see her brother, thinking that she was actually seeing him like in real life. But it turns out she was seeing a hypnotized version of his dead body attached to a wheelchair. Creepy. Also, Chad Michael Murray is in this, and he plays Edgar Evernever, who is gorgeous, first of all. It's Chad Michael Murray. You can't get around that. But he plays the cult leader of the farm. So you have the cult leader of the farm who's harvesting organs of people, right? But then you also have the Gargoyle King, who's a cult leader in himself. Now, back in earlier seasons, we know that the Ghoulies and the Serpents are gang fighting, right? Jughead Jones being the Serpent King, Betty Cooper being the, Serpent Queen. Who was it? Piper? Is that her name? I think it was Piper. She was running the Ghoulies for a bit, and then Gladys kind of took an eye out from her. So then the Gargoyle King kind of claimed the Ghoulies. So then it was just really the Gargoyle gang doing drug stuff versus the Serpents for a lot of the stuff. So Tallboy, who we thought was dead, turned out to be the first Gargoyle King that we unmasked. Then we unmasked... Who was after that? Moose's dad was the second Gargoyle King, which was a terrible trying to scare your son straight bit. That was really not cool. I didn't enjoy that, but that was the point. It made you uncomfortable. Then we get into real Gargoyle King stuff. So it turns out Gargoyle King in the costume is Chick, who's not dead, who's dressed up as Jason Blossom, who everyone assumed was still alive, but actually wasn't. So that was pretty cool. The Black Hood escaped from prison. We talked about that. So it was the Black Hood and the Gargoyle King as Chick, fighting for many times. But it turns out Penelope Blossom was the Gargoyle King the entire time, pulling the strings of all of the little pawns of the game. Creepy, psychological, very weird, but very cool. So we're left with unanswered questions. Where did all of the farm members ascend to, minus Kevin, who they left behind to tell the story? Where did Penelope Blossom escape to? Did Hal Cooper actually get murdered by Penelope because... Hal Cooper got murdered by Penelope Blossom because we don't actually see his dead body. We just know that she put a gun to his head and pulled the trigger. Okay. Also, with this, the finale had a time jump to spring break of senior year, and you have Veronica, Betty, and Archie burning their bloody clothes saying that they're going to go their separate ways, things of that nature. Now, I know Greg already announced season 5 of Riverdale is going to have a time jump, so I don't know what season 4 is about. I have no idea. So we'll see where we get up to that spring break of senior year, because these they're not teenagers. You know, they're playing 17-year-olds, but they're in their mid to late 20s. You know, Cole is what? He's 28 years old. Cole Sprouse, 27, 28 years old, something like that. I mean, yeah, KJ Appa is like what, 22, 23, but still, like, they're all playing 17-year-olds. So kind of got to age them, put them into that college years. Their muscular aesthetic is not what a teenager looks like. We'll just put it that way. No one in my high school ever looked like that. I'm just going to say that flat out. That's it. So, yes, very interesting. Oh, also, because this is partnered with Sabrina, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is a Netflix property, it's in the same universe. So Sabrina mentions Riverdale a couple times, and remember, Sabrina and someone went to Riverdale just to quickly pick up medicine or something like that. Greendale, which is where Sabrina's story takes place, was mentioned once. I did keep track of that. Now, my only gripe with Riverdale is, in this day and age, we have shows on streaming services that knock out a story really quick and perfectly in 10 episodes. I love Riverdale. I do. Because it has incredible stories. It has all intertwined soap opera, who slept with who when, and who has to kill who for what reason. All of these terrible dark things, right? I love it. But what I mentioned before, as there was a third of the story, a third of the story, a third of the story, I don't think it needed to be as long as it was. Some episodes were definitely filler episodes. I get it. But I feel like if it was condensed, it would go quicker. Because some of these shows, the first 4 episodes went super fast. I honestly thought that 4 hours was an hour. No joke. I think it was midnight by the time I realized I was 4 episodes in. And I like when you do that. I like when you binge and like things happen like that. But when I got to the middle and I got to close to the end, I realized the time. I was like, okay, I mean, we can go quicker. As I'm getting spoiled. You know, we talked about Never Have I Ever recently on from Netflix. 10 episodes. Gorgeous story. We talked about Dollface recently. 10 episodes on Hulu. Gorgeous story. We talked about Hunters. We talked about Reprisal. Those are all like 10 episodes. I didn't like Hunters and Reprisal as compared to the other two, but Upload, that was what, 10 episodes on Amazon Prime. The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. That's another great example. That's like what, 10, 11 episodes, something like that. These are good examples of modern shows now that can bang out incredible storytelling, perfect story arcs in a shorter time period. You don't need 22 episodes to put out a full story. And I think that's what's interesting about Teen Wolf, if we're going to these teen soap opera, kind of things. Teen Wolf season 3 was broken into 2 parts, 3A, 3B, and 5 was broken into 2 parts, 5A, 5B, to tell 2 separate stories, which I thought was smart, because they didn't have to extend the whole thing. So, I don't know, just my point of view. I still love this. I still love season 3 of Riverdale, and on to season 4. So, what are your thoughts on the Gargoyle King? Do you think Shannon Purser as, what's her face? Not Evelyn. What character does Shannon Purser play? Ethel. I thought she did a really great brainwash job. There was a lot of brainwashed people in this season. I did notice that. So, yeah. We'll see. That's all I got. Mucho mahalo.